How's it going, guys? And now we're on to the second stage of making your 12-month marketing plan. Now, to begin, um, a lot of what we're going to be going through in the next few stages is going to be heavily revolved around a website or your company's website. Now, I understand that some of you guys might not have a website, or you're developing one, or you have one already. However, in the next few courses, we'll also be showing you guys how you can apply for the Trading Online voucher supplied by Enterprise Ireland, which is a €2,500 grant to help you develop your website. And that can be very useful for some of you guys that haven't actually developed your website yet. Even if you don't have a website developed, I want to show you some core features and some core techniques that you need to be thinking about when developing your website, and it'll save you a lot of hassles going into the future. And for the people that already have their website, well, you can get cracking on with this straight away. So if we come down onto day 2 to 5 to-dos and prioritizations, all right, this is actually a concatenation of all of the following sheets, which is day 2 crow check and day 3 optimization and further on. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through each section and kind of explain a little bit of which one is. All right. So here you can see crow checkout carried. All right. What does crow stand for? Crow stands for conversion rate optimization. Okay. So basically what that is it's a complicated word, but it's actually quite simple. If we turn over and we can see this funnel that I've made. All right. Basically a step-by-step guide, simplistic step-by-step guide that a digital potential buyer would go through when they make their journey from come to your website start to giving you money, a paying customer. All right. So over here you can see organic Facebook post. What does that mean? That means, for example, imagine you had 10,000 followers and you put a post out and 1,000 people came to your website through that post. That's organic. You haven't paid anybody to get them 1,000 people over to your website. It was a audience you generated by yourself. PPC is slightly different. That's if you have paid Facebook to run ads and 1,000 people come from that ad you have ran. All right, so let's write 1,000 people. So let's imagine 1,000 people have come in to your website. CRO or conversion rate optimization is what happens when 1,000 people land on your website. All right, so they've come in from a channel, you want them to become a lead, and then further down the road, you want them to become a buyer. All right, the the amount of people that become visitor to lead is determined on many factors on your website. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If you have a slow website, you might lose a certain percentage of people because they don't want to wait around for the website to load. If you don't have credibility on your website looks a bit shady for whatever reason, you might lose a large portion of people coming from organic posts and PPC ads. And there's many other aspects that might turn people away from a website. Look, we've all used a bad website, so you know probably many examples of what turns people away from taking the next step and filling out a CTA, call to action, or lead form. Put them into that opportunity to buy your service. Okay, so basically if we go back to the spreadsheet, what this spreadsheet is, all right, these 4 sections, is going through all of the questions you should be asking yourself when you are analyzing your website's CRO, conversion rate optimization. Is my website mobile friendly? And if it's not, anybody that comes with a mobile won't be able to use it. Is my website easy to understand what's being sold? All right, so this is something you have to objectively ask yourself as the business owner or the marketing person in the company. Is it understand for people that are not in the industry, don't maybe use the lingo? You have to think about your target audience and say, would they understand what I'm trying to convey to them? All right. Does my website have a clear benefit? Why are you better than other people? Another thing to consider is when somebody is searching for a product and they go onto Google, for example, they'll have 4 or 5 competitors. Rarely people just pick the first option and just go with that, especially if it's a bigger buy. Like, they'll go through each one and figure out which one works out for them. It's very important that you have that clear message on why you're better than a certain other person for your target market, your niche target market. That's that these are questions you need to ask yourself or ask a developer that's going to be developing your website, designing your website. um these questions. Okay, so that's CRO, and that's why it's so important. Doesn't matter how many people you can get in to your website. Okay, maybe you run thousands of euros worth of ads, right? And they're doing very well, they're converting well, very well. So on average, you spend only €10 per lead or something like that, the kind of way. That's all completely reliant on Crow over here. So if your ads generate 10,000 followers, but you have like a very, very bad conversion rate, only 0.1%, doesn't matter how much money you pump into ads or how well they're doing. If the website is the bottleneck in this funnel, well, then you're going to have a really difficult time trying to scale your business. And that's vice versa with the ads, all right? So when you start to think about this funnel and think about your customer's journey, it's going to allow you to identify bottlenecks in this funnel. Doesn't matter if your organic content is amazing, you have tons of followers, they're always clicking on links, or your ads are amazing, you're spending tons of money. If the website is bad, it's not going to do well. All right, so it's very important to think about that funnel and how that works. This is your call to action here as well, just so I can highlight that. The place where you want someone to take an action to become a visitor to a lead. All right, so that's that. Then if we go back to the spreadsheet, this is your Crow check, and then your page optimization is heavily revolved around search optimization. All right, now what is that? It's not a very complicated subject, but I want to give you guys a very brief understanding of what it is. Okay, so if we come back over here and we jump on to this one here. A great way to understand why Google even requires somebody to be search engine optimized, for example, is to understand the problem that they were faced with. Imagine somebody typed in wedding photographer, and Google goes through all the people would that would qualify for that search term. Okay, so what I mean by that is Google has to figure out, okay, who's even a contender for that search term? Who should I show this user to? No point showing the bakery shop if someone's typing in wedding photographer. So how does Google figure out who's an actual photographer that does weddings rather than a bakery, and who to even contend for that front page of links? Well, they do that by meta descriptions. A meta description is a piece of text, I believe it's like 55 characters, that you give to Google that highlights what this page does in a very concise way. And that's this over here, this section over here. Okay, and then you'll also see the title. That's how Google figures out who's a contender to be on that page. Not who's first or who's second, but who should be in the pool of people to show that user searching for. So on page optimization, that's why we're making sure that you have target keywords, all right, that are in your meta description and in your website copy, because the only way to be relevant to a keyword you want to be relevant to, such as wedding photographers, if you're a photographer, is to make sure that you have wedding photographer in your text on your website and in your meta description, right? It's quite simple, but it can be quite difficult to write text with these keywords that make a lot of sense and are not written for a robot, right? It flows well. Second thing is your H1 tags and your custom and your headings and stuff like that, and is your copy unique? These are all things you have to think about for in terms of, does my copy specifically say I want wedding photographers in Dublin? How well is the copy written, the text written on the website, and is it structured hierarchically enough so that Google figures out, okay, this is important, this is less important, this is less important, this is structured correctly. Okay, and that's where your H1 tags come in. Now I'm going to quickly show you guys a way to get all this information on your website without having to go through this spreadsheet. So if I am on government.ie at the moment, what I did was I right clicked on the website and I hit inspect. All right, and that brought up this little development tab. Now it may seem complicated, but we don't have to do anything here except hit these double arrows and click on Lighthouse. Once we've done that, we're going to hit analyze page. Okay, and while that's actually spinning, what we're going to do is we're going to jump back onto the laptop and explain to you now that we've explained how Google finds out contenders for a search term. How do they pick who's at the top, which is important for you because you want to be at the top for your search terms that you pick for your business. Well, imagine we have 4 photographers, okay, that all do wedding photography in Dublin. They all have wedding photographer in their meta description, in their website, so Google knows they're a contender. How does Google decide which one actually becomes the winner or at the top of that Google search result? Okay, Well, the best way they can do this, and the large majority of their decision making comes from a somewhat popularity test. And what do I mean by that? Basically, what they do is they check each one of these websites domains and they record how many times people have linked from another website to their website. So imagine the blue guy here linked to this guy here, the orange guy. Okay, and what I mean by link is simply a hyphen, a hypertext link on a website. That's all a link is. Um, so a link from blue website to orange website is something we consider a backlink. It's as simple as linking from one website to another website. Imagine the guy in blue here links to the guy in the orange. He linked to a blog post that the guy in the orange wrote because he thought it was very informative. And this guy in the yellow with the slightly open mouth also linked to this orange guy. Okay, so this guy has two links at the moment. All right, he has two links. Imagine this guy here with the darker yellow also links to this blue guy. Right, this blue guy had a great photography album, and he wanted to link to it and show his website followers his his blog post. Let's say this guy only has one backlink. Well, Google uses these links between websites to derive the fact that somebody has trusted another person for to place a link for their website visitors to follow through on it. All right. So if I link to one of your guys' website, that means I know who you are. We've established a relationship more than likely in the real world, and I trust you enough, and I think that your business is trustworthy enough that I wouldn't mind sending my followers, my you website visitors to your website, right? So it shows a little bit of trust, and that's how Google decides who is the most trustworthy, and that's how they derive the DA score that you see in the template here, which is your competitor analysis. All right, this one here. If you click on it, you can see domain authority. All right, so that's how they figure out, all right, who is the most trustworthy out of all these four contenders, um, out of all these four contenders to be on top of Google. So Google is looking at this now and they're saying, right, this guy should be first. Okay, and he's probably going to have a higher domain score. He might have 30 because there's two people linking to him. And this guy in the blue might have 20. And these two guys would probably be fighting for third or fourth place based on other factors of their website. Maybe who's around longer, who has better tracking on their website, etc., etc. Okay, so this guy is going to win because he has more links linking to his website. And that's how Google decides who's on top of Google. All right. So if we go back to the competitor analysis, if you want to if you want to rank for a search term such as wedding photographer, okay, and you can see one of your competitors has a huge amount of backlinks and a huge amount of domain score, it's going to be very difficult to beat him at his game, to get more links than him in a reasonable amount of time. All right, so that's why you would do something called tail keywords, all right? So you would make the keyword a little bit longer. So for example, instead of doing wedding photographer, you would say wedding photographer, white wedding photographer Dublin, wedding photographer Kerry, and try beat them at the more specific searches, at the niches. That's very important to do some research on that. And that's how you find out what your chances of actually getting to the top of Google are. Now, if you want to find out these figures from your competitors, there is a very simple way you can do it. You can either go to Moz, which is a online SEO engine that explains to you all your competitors' metrics in terms of SEO, or you can go to SEMrush. Now, I did a domain overview, or an audit, if you want to call it that, of gov.ie. All right, and you can see here that they have a domain score of 73, all right, which is pretty high. They also have organic search traffic of 1 million, which is a lot of traffic. Okay. Um, they have a paid search traffic of 2.5 thousand euros. So that means they're paying ads, and roughly they're getting 2,500 people a month coming in through them ads. And they have 15.3 million backlinks. All right. So you're probably wondering, where are people actually linked? Like, where are these getting these? Where is government.ie getting these backlinks, right? Well, if we come in here, we can see main organic competitors. No, sorry, not that one over there. Excuse me. Let me pull down. So if we come over here to backlinks, we can see that revenue.ie is linking to them, mywaste.ie is linking to them, and board match trustee speed dating.ie is linking to them. Okay. So that's where they're getting their links from. All them people are saying this government.ie website, I know it, I trust it. I think you should go to their website for some information because I trust them. And that's how Google knows that this website is a very trustworthy website. All right. So that's how you kind of understand your competitors' ranking on Google and if it's actually capable of you out beating them and getting on top of them in terms of Google search results. I'm going to leave the link for this in the description. And we're going to jump back on to the Excel spreadsheet and go through a few more bits and bobs. So if we go to day 3, which is your content scheduler, this is basically your organic approach, right? What are you going to be posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram? Now, I highly recommend you simply pick one channel and focus on that completely, as every different social media platform is going to have slightly different ways to generate a good following. For example, on Instagram, at the start, you should be focusing heavily on reels. Okay, reels allow you to reach an audience outside of your follower base. Whereas if you're just posting stories and posts, only people that are following you see that. Okay, so it's very important to pick one channel and plan ahead. I'm going to do this on this day. I'm going to use this. The reason I'm posting this is to achieve this, etc., etc. Be very coordinated about what content you're going to plan and why you're going to plan it. Less content that is quality is better than just pushing out as many posts as humanly possible. Right. So that's your social media planning. One more thing I'm going to say on that is there is a handy little tool that I cannot recommend enough, and it's called Canva. It's going to make your social media organic posting unbelievably easy. All right. I'm going to just quickly run through and explain why. First of all, once you make a design, there's tons of templates on the left. So yeah, starting from scratch takes seconds. But once you've made your design, all you have to do is come on here, share on social media, and click on Facebook group, LinkedIn, Instagram, personal page, etc., etc. And on top of that, if you have the paid version, you can schedule it. So you could spend 1 week creating all this marketing content material for your social medias, have it all ready, and then just schedule it every week so that you don't have to worry about your social media content for 6 months or a year. Very handy, and it's a lot of forward planning thinking there. That's going to save your business a lot of time and also generate that organic following that is so useful to most businesses. All right, so that's social media planning. Now your keywords are also very important, and they go back to your search engine optimization. There's a very handy little tool that I'm going to give you guys to get you started off with keyword planning, and it is on Google Ads Keyword Planner. Okay, so I'm going to click on this and just run through a demonstration of it and how easy it is to get a bunch of keywords that you should be ranking for. So imagine if we go back to the photographer, wedding photographer, we're going to type in here, let's see what comes in. Okay, so now I typed in a search term that is very broad. Okay, so let me explain one more time. Let me just explain one little concept about keywords. There is 4 types of keywords you should be thinking about. All right, one is commercial. Very easy concept. One is commercial, and one is information. All right, what does that mean? Okay, if somebody types in how to repair your car, how to repair your oil car, how to change the oil in my car, for example. Sorry, I mean, that's an informational search term, right? This person is not looking to buy something, rather they are looking to gain information. If that person types in oil change mechanic near me, well, that's a commercial intent. Okay, now both of them have their uses. Okay, so informational is also good to target. I'm sure everyone wants to target the commercial ones, the ones that bring actual people willing to pay for a product or service that want one now into the funnel. But informational is also good because informational search terms give you authority over your users. So for example, if you wrote a blog post, if you were a mechanic trying to sell car oil or engine oil or whatever, and you read a blog post about how to change your oil. Perhaps you can upsell them services on oil or related car peripherals that makes it easier to change your oil or keeps your engine healthy or whatever, right? So these visitors are still potentially, you can still have a lot of potential to convert them. And you'll generally find that commercially intent keywords have a lot more competition and a lot more competition in Google ads, right? So you should never run PPC ads for informational stuff ever, all right? It should always be focused on commercial intent. So that's one concept, understanding the intent of the user when they type in a search term onto Google, all right? One other thing that we should be thinking about is broad, okay, versus specific search terms. What do I mean by that? If somebody types in wedding photographer, okay, that's a very broad term, right? It could be anywhere. It could be in Dublin, in Ireland, in Kerry. You know, it could be a white wedding. It could be another water wedding. It could be anything, right? It's a very broad term. But when we are starting off our CEO campaign, you never want to go for these broad terms because they're extremely competitive, right? You're going to have everyone trying to bid for them, um, bid for the top of Google for them search terms. What we should be thinking about is trying to grab a few very specific terms, search terms. So that could be, for example, wedding photography Kerry, white wedding photography Kerry, or white wedding examples Kerry. You know, the amount of keywords is elongated, meaning less, generally speaking, less people are going to type them keywords in, meaning you have less competition on actually beating other people to get to them keywords. So if we jump back on to our keyword planner here, here is a way for you to quickly slap in a few keywords that you know are relevant to your business and find out what their what their cost of marketing is, find out what the competition is, find out how many average monthly searches they get, and etc, 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 and also get a lot of different keywords you can be planning for. So marriage photography, which is same idea as wedding photography, but perhaps you can use that keyword if it's less competitive. You know, average wedding photography cost. I'm not sure what this keyword is here. Let me see if I can pull this out. Hungary photo. I'm not sure what that is. You're gonna have to do some. So wedding photography packages. That's more specific than just wedding photography, and it's probably less competitive than wedding for photography wedding. As you can see here, this is high, and wedding photography packages is medium. So I would recommend when you start off, start to target these less more specific keyword or search terms so that you have an easier time beating people on the search results page of Google. So that's what the day 4 paid traffic's looking at, and then we come to day 4 CPA calculator. Now, we've already spoke about this concept in your profit and loss accounts, but I think I'm going to give a full video, a full course on this and how to actually set up tracking on the next video so that you guys can have a very good understanding of your PPC marketing spend. So I hope that was informative. I hope that gave you guys some insight on how to fill out this marketing form. All the links will be in the description. If you're on the educational course, all the links will be in the text. And I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one to talk about your CPC calculator, or CPA calculator, excuse me. And yeah, we'll see you soon.